What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Heart Over Height episode. Today we're going to be talking about some NBA news that just went down literally minutes before the draft. I'm recording this just as the draft has started. So you're probably going to see some live picks as this video goes on. I'll probably react to those as we go on too. So if you do enjoy this kind of content, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and drop a comment down below on what you think about this specific signing right here as we go through it. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, OG Anunoby. I just talked about this in the video yesterday. After they traded for Mikal, they're going to try and make a deal for OG, try and keep him with the Knicks. He signs a 5-year, $212.5 million deal. That's a lot of money. But what I can say is, of course, the Knicks are going all in here. Yesterday I talked about how it was a win-now move for them. Now they're going to go and look at this lineup here. I think that they're going to move off from Julius Randle. I don't think they necessarily need him. I think what they're going to do is find a better suitor for him, because they've got this squad here where they're probably going to run OG at the 4, or at least this is what I would do personally. You run OG at the 4, you run Mikal, DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson with a guy like Josh Hart, Miles McBride coming off your bench, and Alec Burks and Shake Milton. This, I think, is the match made in heaven for not only the Knicks, but OG himself as well, because he's not that number 1, number 2 option. He can just go in, do exactly what he needs to do. He is a Drew Holiday. He's a Swiss Army knife. I mean, they have a lot of Swiss Army knives. That's just the Villanova boys, and they've brought them over to New York. And New York is starting to look like the scariest team to compete with the Celtics in the East. I discussed this yesterday. We're talking about it right now too. As you can see at the top, we've got live updates on the picks. But the Knicks themselves, they are looking scary because players, they're going all in. And yes, there is obviously a risk in all this and fit and everything like that. I think the fit is there because they've brought together so many plug-and-play players that they all just already work well together. One, most of them played together in college. Two, OG plugs in with 90% of the rosters in the NBA, 90% of the spots in the NBA. Now, yes, the big question mark for the Knicks is, what do they do about Julius Randle? Can they find a good suitor for him? And then what's up with the center position? Because of this whole Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, I think that they need to go out and try and find a stretch big. Somebody who can at least, I'm thinking like Jonas Valanciunas, somebody in that caliber. It doesn't need to be anyone phenomenal either. You go out and you go get that. Somebody that will also fit in this system that Tom Thibodeau has built. Now let's talk about that for a quick second, because the Knicks, what I love about all these moves that the Knicks are making is they fit perfectly with the coach. Sometimes we see some moves that's just like kind of question marks with who exactly is coaching this roster. For example, we look at the Lakers and everything that they have been doing. I'm not going to lie, the Lakers have been just name chase, trade for just a big name player. They had a championship roster during the bubble that included guys like Kyle Kuzma. Then they went off and they traded for Russell Westbrook, and it just crumbled. And it has continued just crumbling. And because the GM is not giving, like the front office there is not giving enough time to gel, and instead they're just, rather than keeping a good roster, they're always trying, let's get better. And it's okay to get better by letting the guys grow together. You look at a team like a team like Boston has grown a lot together. Yes, they brought in Drew Holiday and Kristaps this year, but Tatum, Brown have constantly played together. You look at the Nuggets, Jamal, Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., those guys have grown together. They even went and got Aaron Gordon, who was a guy, let's be honest, he wasn't great in Orlando. Definitely not he was a number 4 overall pick. I was definitely disappointed watching him coming out of Arizona, and he turned into that. Then he went over and revived his career in Denver. It's because of the coach and the GM worked together to build this roster, and that's exactly what the Knicks are doing. Now, what scares me, of course, is Thibodeau's system has, it's always scary for injuries. Josh Hart, this last playoff run, just exhausted, honestly. You saw, guys like you see OG is day-to-day. He missed time in the playoffs, too. Derrick Rose back in the day, he just overexerts his roster. Now, of course, I understand in the playoffs when it's a super tight race and everything like that, you got to do what you got to do. The guys got to play. The guys got to play. I'm hoping what happens, though, is because they've gotten these solid group of, so far we have 3, 4, 5, I'd say at least 6, 7 guys on this roster that you can kind of trust to go into your bench a little bit. Like you've got, of course, Jalen, Mikal, OG are going to play a ton. Josh Hart, DiVincenzo are going to play a lot. But if you have, let's say, DiVincenzo, like let's say the roster is exactly how it is right now. You have Josh Hart coming off the bench, DiVincenzo coming off the bench, Alec Burks, Miles McBride. Like that's 4 solid guys. And even like Mitchell Robinson coming off your bench. Precious coming off your bench. Like there's solid guys here to give them some leeway to just relax a little bit and give their starting squad some rest. And that's going to be much needed rest, especially when you're going to be going up against Indiana, who's a run and gun offense. You're going to be going up against Boston, who is a super deep team. You look at Miami is always there. They're always in the hunt. So overall, I like what the Knicks are doing. I really do, because the GM and coach are coming together finally. And we've seen it a lot in New York where things just, they've always just name chased after the big boy name, the Kevin Durant, the Donovan Mitchell and everything. Now they're like, you know what? Rather than going after big name every year, because those teams that are doing that are failing. You look at the Phoenix Suns. That is clearly not working over there. You look at the Brooklyn Nets, tried it with KD, Kyrie, James Harden. Those guys, those teams and organizations are kind of failing when they're going and chasing these names versus the teams that are building great rosters. Boston, Denver, Golden State's always really good at that. They're going deep in the playoffs. They're making championships. They're winning championships, everything like that. So I like what the Knicks got going on. I think it's great for the league, because we're going to see a very deep roster. Just another team in the East that is scary and another deep roster that can compete with somebody like Boston or Philly when they're healthy. So all right, guys, with that being said, this has been another Heart Over Height episode. If you did like this content, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment down below how you feel about OG. Was he overpaid? Was he paid just right? Would you have done this move if you were the GM of the Knicks? So with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.